Given that the last 3 words written on this golden page were the song of everlasting sorrow, the implication was rather obvious. However, Lv Shu felt a bit awkward about singing it. So, after the golden page turned to ashes and merged with the seedling mark in his palm, he recited it, but it didn't work. Lv Shu looked out of the window in disappointment, hesitated for a long time, and finally sang, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are." Just as he finished the first line, he felt a change in the cold night air. It seemed to become a medium connecting him with the vast starry sky above. Invisible information was sent into the dark air through the song, the wind blew up a wisp of snow on the ground, and the boundless galaxy seemed like a real river of life, flowing endlessly. This nursery rhyme-like song was actually opening an inexplicable channel between Lv Shu and the galaxy. The snow had stopped, but in Lv Shu's eyes, the starry sky suddenly sprinkled starlight like snowflakes, drifting towards him. The starlight passed through the cold air, the thin clouds, the roof and the window, and finally fell on Lv Shu, melting instantly. Lv Shu felt a glow inside his body, rushing towards a certain point, finally converging in his chest, opening up a large star map within his body. To be honest, Lv Shu was a bit panicked. He didn't expect that the thing recorded on this unknown golden page could cause such a big commotion. Although he had thought about cultivating himself to see a bigger world, he was still a little flustered when everything came, because no one told him what to do. He didn't know how to face everything that was coming. Lv Shu stopped singing the nursery rhyme and shouted through the wall, "Little fish, did you see anything falling outside the window just now?" Lu Xiaoyu shouted back through the wall, "Don't try to fool me, I've been watching outside the window, there's nothing at all." Lv Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Since Lu Xiaoyu said so, there must be nothing happening. It turned out that others couldn't see the starlight. It wasn't a phenomenon, but an inner energy. If he started singing and a galaxy appeared above his head connecting him to the starry sky, Lv Shu estimated that someone would come knocking on his door soon. Compared to this, human-shaped walking satellite positioning was nothing. However, Lv Shu suddenly took a deep breath. He didn't know what he was thinking, but his face turned dark. So, does this cultivation method only work when singing? And it stops when not singing? Creator of this method, don't you feel ashamed? Others are like invincible swordsmanship, summoning tens of thousands of divine swords with a single command, or something like heavenly energy absorption. Why does he have to sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" when it comes to him? Lv Shu was about to smash the cup in his hand again. If he has a child in the future and the child asks, "Daddy, can you sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star"?" what should Lv Shu say? Yes, I'll sing it for you, sing, my foot." But at this moment, Lv Shu suddenly realized what the starlight fruit in the product list was for. If he didn't guess wrong, it was probably a cultivation resource specifically combined with this method. In this world that is slowly changing, Lv Shu doesn't know what other people's cultivation resources are, but logically, they shouldn't be something readily available. Just then, Lv Shu clearly saw a red light burning in the night sky. It was so abrupt on the night of the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year. It didn't look like fireworks, which should be a flash of light shooting into the sky, then exploding into a huge flower. However, the red light in the sky seemed to be a reflection on the ground, like a fierce flag waving in the sky a kilometer high. A fire? Lv Shu was a bit surprised. How big a fire would it be to cause such a fire? The red fire was still moving, and Lv Shu had already heard the sound of fire trucks, confirming that it was undoubtedly a fire. How could such a big fire break out in the middle of the night? What made him a bit puzzled was that the breath of the fire made him feel a bit familiar. The flame in his heart was jumping. This was the first time since Lv Shu's car accident that he had a clear feeling of the movement of the white flame in his heart. He didn't know what the flame in his heart meant, where it came from, or why it made him feel like he was reuniting after a long time. It seemed that the world had become strange overnight. Lv Shu said to Lv Xiaoyu in the next room, "You stay at home, I'm going to the roof to take a look." "I want to go too," Lv Xiaoyu said and started to walk out. Lv Shu closed the door with a bang. "No," he said and went out. Negative emotions from Lv Xiaoyu, plus 50, Lv Shu's teeth started to hurt again. This little girl was so resentful of him. But the good thing about this income record was that he seemed to be able to know who resented him at any time, unless the other party could hide their system. Lv Shu was not sure if such people existed. He climbed onto the roof of his house quietly. Usually, there would be some radishes drying here. It just snowed, and Lv Shu didn't think about picking up the radishes in the bamboo basket. Now it's just right to pick them up. In the spring and autumn seasons, Lv Xiaoyu liked to lie on the roof with Lv Shu. At that time, they could see the vast sky and birds just by leaning on their arms. Those times were always gentle and leisurely. Lv Shu stood on the roof and looked at the source of the fire. He was curious whether the fire tonight was caused by those imaginary ability bearers. At this moment, he saw a shadow running and jumping on the roofs of these houses in the yard. It seemed like 2 people, running quickly towards him. Behind the 2 people, a huge wave of snow was raised. That was the wave caused by the wind. The other party was extremely agile. Although the distance between the houses was not big, the problem was that the other party was running on the roof as if walking on flat ground. The other party seemed to have noticed him too, and the 2 of them stopped at the same time. In this process, the two mysterious people had already opened up a huge angle, as if they were ready to attack from both sides at any time. On one side was Lv Shu, who had just climbed onto the roof, and on the other side were the unknown masters. For a moment, there seemed to be a standoff between the two sides.